Hi, this is Scott McKain, and on this edition of the Ultimate Business Summit video, we've got two experts on accountability. How in the world do you grow your business? How in the world do you get better at what you do if you don't take accountability and if you don't inspire your people to take accountability? It's one of the most important and critical topics that you can encounter in terms of business success. We've got Larry Winget, the pit bull of personal development, best-selling author, Fox frequent commentator. We've got Randy Pennington, best-selling author, member of the Professional Speakers Hall of Fame and more. And they're going to talk about accountability. What does it take to hold yourself accountable and to grow the accountability within your organization? Larry, let's start with you. What is the key to this important issue?
You know, the key is sort of changing the culture from the way society thinks to the way you want your people to think in your business. We live in a society of blame. There's very little accountability that goes on right now. We want to blame somebody else for everything that's going wrong in our personal lives as well as in our businesses. And we become victims of that mindset that it's never our fault. And so the people who work for you, and believe me, even you running your business, are going to be one of those people simply because it's so easy and it's so embraced at this point in society that says, this can't be my fault. It must be the fault of my competition. It must be the fault of the industry. I've got a lousy product to sell. Do you not understand the economy? People don't have the money. Have you seen these employees I've got to work with? There are not enough people out there, good people to hire, and on and on and on and on. And as Jim Rohn, and I know we're all big fans of Jim Rohn, he used to take a big chart and would say, let's make a list of all the reasons you aren't doing well. And at the end of the list, he would say, I have one problem with your list. You ain't on it. And bottom line, every single one of us who's running a business today, I don't care how your business is being successful or not doing as well, it doesn't matter. You have to go immediately to the bottom of the list and realize you got to be what's on the list. It's not about the competition. It's not about the economy. It's about you and how you run your business and how you create a culture of accountability. Now, Randy, I know you're the culture guy, so let's talk about that culture of accountability.
I was just going to say what Larry said with that. But
we can stop. Thank you so much, folks.
But I'm not. But I'm not. So here's the thing. I look at it from an organizational perspective of accountability is about ownership. And that's kind of what I took away from what you said, Larry, is when people own it, they become accountable. Now, from a standpoint of a leader and driving accountability in your business, the question is, how do you create ownership? And Larry, I think you would agree that there's way too many people that come into the workplace today who don't walk in with a sense of ownership.
Right.
I think you've probably written a book about it, and if you haven't, you probably will. So how do you create ownership? See, I think ownership is only possible when one of three things happen. When all three of these things happen. One is there's really clear expectations. People have to know exactly what's expected. The second is there's nothing getting in the way of them taking that ownership. That could be training, it could be resources, it could be time, it could be any of those things. And the third is that they see themselves as responsible. Now, all three of those things are leadership responsibilities. So to your point, Larry, of if people aren't doing it, if the leader is not setting clear expectations, you're going to have a problem with accountability. If the leader isn't making sure that people have the time, the tools, the talent, the training, all those things that they need, you're going to have a problem with accountability. It's not that they don't want to be accountable. They can't. It's impossible for them to. If you allow performance to go too long before you address it. And that, by the way, is the biggest problem I've seen in over 30 years of working with organizations on accountability. Managers don't do anything until they're so mad about it that they've told people for years that they're okay, but they really haven't been. And it's the lack of leadership and management courage that allow those things to go on. And if people don't know that they're doing something wrong or they've received mixed messages, they can't be accountable. By the way, even if you try to hold them accountable, depending on where you live, if you haven't laid out those expectations, you could probably get sued anyway. So there is an issue of clear expectations, nothing getting in the way, clear responsibility that's put on people. And whatever you do, just don't wait too long, because the only thing that does is it sends a message. Larry, you remember from your corporate days, Scott, you do too. The manager that comes in says, I want to fire Louis because he's been a bad employee for 10 years. And you go to his personnel file and it's got 12 years of above standards performance reviews on it. And so it's that kind of waiting too long that gets you into trouble. And most important, it sends mixed messages to your employees.
Well, I'm glad you put it back on the leader. I'm kind of well known for saying if your life sucks, it's because you suck. And if your employees suck, it's because as a leader, you suck. And I do believe that it always goes back to the leader, just like it goes back to the parent, just like, you can't blame someone else. And I'm big on that don't blame, take responsibility idea. So let's talk a moment about the expectation thing, because I'm glad you made that number one. I did write a book about expectations in terms of parenting, but I believe that being a great leader is a lot like being a great parent. That one, you lay out the expectation, but then you have a responsibility as the leader to teach people. You're responsible for educating them on how to deliver those expectations. Too often we say, this is what we expect, and then we walk away and just hope they figure it out, and then they don't. And then we come back and say, you didn't do it right. Well, you didn't teach them how to do it right. So you have to lay out the expectation clearly in advance. You have to communicate how to deliver on the expectation. Then you also have to communicate clearly what happens when they do and what happens when they don't. And then I like how you wrapped up your points about there has to be what happens when you don't. I believe that too many businesses go too long and do not impose consequences. And I also believe that consequences drive behavior. With a lack of consequences, we have people running amok doing what they feel is right because nobody ever came in and said, no, that's not what we want, and this is how you deliver what we want. So all of those things tie together. I agree with you, and I would just expand on them to say you've got to communicate how to deliver on the expectations as well.
And if you'd like more information on exactly how you do that, man, do we have something for you. It's the Ultimate Business Summit. It's coming up this August in Las Vegas. To get more information, go to ultimatebusinesssummit.com. That's ultimatebusinesssummit.com. All the registration information, timing, dates, everything there. One of the things we commit to you is that you are going to leave not only with your questions answered, because we intentionally keep the group small so that you can get personal attention from the three of us. We also commit to you that you're going to leave with 100 specific ideas on how to grow your business. How many times have you heard somebody say, if I could just get one good idea from this program, well, only 1% of the ideas have to be good, and that comes true for you. Almost 90% of the people that came to this program in previous years are coming back again. That should tell you the value. UltimateBusinessSummit.com, and we look forward to seeing you on future videos.